Oh boy, another cold one. 5:08 a.m. in the morning. Let's do it. Let's be patriotic. First thing in the morning with gratitude and patriotism. Right up there. Let's try to cut those people out. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Let's get it on. It's 19 degrees Fahrenheit. First thing in the morning. Welcome to Live and Learn, the Morning Gratitude Show, coming to you from Boston, Massachusetts, United States of America, North America, planet Earth, which is the third stone from the sun in the solar system, which is protected by the heliopause, the heliobubble, the heliosphere, the Oort cloud, in the and the outer spiral arm of this, the Milky Way galaxy, which is part of the local group of galaxies, and the Virgo cluster of galaxies, and the Laniakea supercluster of galaxies in the known universe, which is somewhere within the grand possibilities and unplumbed, unfathomed, unrealized multiverse of all possibilities. Good morning, everyone out there in TV land. How are you? We begin our day with some gratitude and patriotism. Whew, I bet you I do the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance more than the children of America. Students, hold on, please. Oh boy, have to juggle some stuff around. Oh, don't look at my face like that. Oh no. Sorry. Ooh, it's a chilly one. It's one of those cold nights where you have to leave the faucet on just a little bit of a drip so that, you don't so your pipes don't explode. What happens is, like, the water will freeze. The running water won't freeze. It has enough kinetic energy that it keeps its water form, even though it's, it could be, very, very cold. But if the faucet's off, that means the water's not moving. That means that it has time to coalesce and to form ice crystals. And ice expands, especially inside of a pipe. What else can happen? So the contents of the pipe must come out, like I just did, and I just farted, talking about exhaust pipes and letting stuff out. Eeks. Madness is first thing in the morning, huh? We've got gratitude. I start off my day with the gratitude list. I start off my gratitude list with what I refer to as the Foundation 8. I am grateful for my family, my friends, my faith, my freedom, my health, my union job, a good night's sleep, and a solid breakfast. And from there, I elaborate and I build on that. Boy. It's Wednesday, so happy hump day. You know what we say here at the channel? You better hump this day, lest it may hump you without your consent. And so get humping. It's also New Comic Book Day. Huzzah! I've got a few floppies. A floppy is it's a cute little nickname that we give to a monthly comic book. Because they flop when, they're paper bound by two staples, usually about 28 pages. Well, basically you get 22 pages of story and art, and that includes the cover art and the preview art in the last page. But you get basically 20, the minimum, the industry standard is 20 pages of what you would consider funny pages. sequential art of story. Now add 2 more pages onto that with cover art, because the cover art is definitely art. Oh boy, I think I slept well last night. I could definitely have gone to bed earlier. You know, I had to run in some errands after work yesterday, so I didn't. And if I got a good wind in my back, I can get home about 3:30 p.m. I didn't get home till about 5 yesterday, and if like my bedtime is somewhere between 6:30 and 7:30, if I want to sleep in, come on, you know what I mean? There we go. We're counting grains of sand in the hourglass now, aren't we? Oh boy, it is a chilly one. It's about 19 degrees Fahrenheit here in the northeast of North America, of the United States of America, the best place on the planet. I know, huh? People are so jelly. People are so jealous of you. Oh gosh, you Americans, you ugly Americans. We can't stand you. I know, huh? I've been in a Twitter conversation with, well, someone like I've known, you know, one of these like, Twitter people that like, you know, you have a rapport with it. You know their name, you know, like, you know, they chime in. And sometimes, like, just conversations take lives of their own and stuff. So maybe like this episode goes out to my friend Ricky. And Ricky is responded to a tweet of mine, and I made a succinct tweet. It's blithe, it's satirical, it's a little scathing. And I said if Europe and the UK, I can't bring it up and film at the same time. Maybe I should have wrote it down on a pad of paper. But it was like, the UK and Europe deserve to fall if they allow it. If they allow this, this erosion of their borders, their culture, and their sovereignty, and it was just like, it wasn't, I didn't even use all 280 characters. I didn't, it was short and sweet. But he responded, he pushed back, I guess, and, how can you as an ordained minister advocate for, where's your compassion? Where, he's just like, basically just like calling me out, where do you come off with this attitude of they deserve to fall? And, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't that contradict, this is a paraphrase. Like I said, I can't read the tweets or even bring up the tweets. I'm filming from my iPhone. And, this is it's just a thing. It's like, the show itself, it's laissez-faire. It's unscripted, unscripted, unedited, unintended. Haha, here's our chariots to the stars. Here we go. Let's grab a seat. All right. Here we go. Oh. Oh boy. There we go. Let's say goodbye to Quincy Adams Station and say hello.
Next stop, Quincy Center.
Quincy Center, yeah. But it's like, he left a thoughtful response. Or they, I'm presuming gender. Oh my God, it's one of the cardinal sins of progressivism. Who are you to guess my gender, you chud? No, I'm kidding. But Ricky's got a point. And, so I had to come up with a better kind of phraseology, I guess. And try to, explain myself. Like, and I'm like, first, like, it was like, what about your Christian brethren over there? And I'm like, well, I grew up Christian, but I'm more of an independent faith. I'm an amateur theologian, a spiritual guy. I don't identify as a Christian. I grew up Irish Catholic. But I don't go to church. I don't celebrate Mass. I don't eat the Eucharist. I don't partake in the sacraments. I don't identify as a Christian. I identify as a Hindu. And if you had to say one thing, and maybe even a Buddhist, I'm into Eastern spirituality, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Dharma of the Buddha. I mean, that's the stuff that had the most traction with me spiritually. So but it's like, but that's a fair appeal, yeah, an appeal to my sense of community, and but I'm like, and I'm not feeling defensive either. I'm more of like, sure, I'm like that's a point. You got a point, but this is just my feelings of statescraft and of sovereignty and of also of like what's been going on in Europe for 20, 30 years now, and that's also the same amount of time that political correctness took over universities, and how political correctness morphed into what we refer to as woke, capital W woke, but also that's better described as academic postmodernism with critical theories, whether it's race theory, feminist theory, colonial theory, gender theory. It's the same recipe for and because people on the left get really finicky when you use the W word. What do you mean by woke? What do you mean? What do you mean? You actually know exactly what I mean. You're being dishonest. It's sorry that your word got sullied by the rabble and the hoi polloi and the chuds. But what's happening? Academic postmodernism is the result of. In the 18th century, there was Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who laid down basically the framework for what eventually spiral into the 19th century German philosophers. Hegel, Kant, and everything leads up to Marx, to Karl Marx. And from Karl Marx, you get socialism, you get communism, you get that level of of just that the oppressor oppressed thing, and just which all came to a head in the late 20th century with Derrida and the postmodernists, and that academic postmodernism is what is the spirit of what's going on in universities.
Entering Wollaston.
And so the one thing, if causation is not correlation, but looking at a Venn diagram really helps you visualize the cross-pollination between a couple of things. And so what are the commonalities going on? I could see the two circles, and the overlap would be academia and the academic postmodernism, which is really firmly rooted in the philosophies of these 19th century German philosophers. And that's the spirit that's ruling, the European Union. And remember, and I always say, I say Europe and the UK as if they're two separate things, but they kind of are in a way.
Next stop,
there's
North
continental
Queensland.
Europe and there's Britain. And also there was Brexit, and Britain still went back to using the pound, and but they all suffer from the same thing, this illusion of an enforced lack of pride for your culture and a derision of people who who traditionally Britons are really proud of their flag and of their country and their history. Why not? So are the Irish, so are the Scots, so are the French, so are the Germans, so are the Spaniards. The only nation in Europe that is not allowing all this open migration is Poland. And they're not having the problems that Sweden and Norway and Finland, and the rest of Europe are having, especially when it comes to grape kings and descent and all this stuff, because that's the recipe. This is going to someone's plan to break up, for a new world order. So buttons, as Mo says.
Entering North Quincy.
But so it's like I'm getting to it. All right. In the past 10 years, I've read several times a trilogy of 21st century science fiction books written by a Chinese author. So this is I love sci-fi. And so it's so interesting to have a Chinese writer, completely different worldview than a Western writer. And they also have to go through a series of hurdles and lenses to make sure that their story is passable. To be so they don't upset the government, But it's called The Remembrance of Earth's Past by Cixin Liu, or Liu Cixin, not Lu Cixin, Liu Cixin. And there were 3 books: The Three-Body Problem, The Dark Forest, and what was the last? Death's End. And it's about an alien invasion. There's some really good videos out there about this, especially through Quinn Howard, Ideas of Ice and Fire, Quinn's Ideas, his station, his YouTube, and I love this guy's content. So he's actually got some really good videos on, the title of the second book is called The Dark Forest. And this introduced to me Dark Forest theory. Dark forest theory is an answer to the Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox is a scientific notion that says if the universe is potentially full of life, then where is everyone? Why haven't we heard from anyone yet? Why isn't there are they hiding? Which is interesting theory. Why would they hide? And it gives you a metaphor, an allegory actually, because a metaphor is a lot shorter and it's about it's usually entailing taking the traits of an animal. You are an eagle, you soar. That's a metaphor. But like and as and using a description, a situation to describe. Imagine you're in a dark forest and you're a hunter, and you have to be very, very quiet because there's other hunters out in this forest. And occasionally you see evidence that they're out there. You never see anyone, and you never hear of them because they're staying quiet too. But once in a while, you'll find evidence that someone else is out there in your forest. What do? Dark forest theory suggests that you can't presume that the other hunters in the forest are benign. And it's safer for you, your civilization, your tribe and people, and yourself, seeing the finite resources in your forest and something called the chain of suspicion. That you can't presume that the other tribe is friendly and wants to get along with you and share resources and live peacefully. That prudence suggests that if you want to survive, it's better that you go and wipe out the other tribe before they even know that you're out there. Humans have this ability to, once that you're exposed to a higher level of technology, to adapt that technology and actually improve it. So, look at the Japanese during the Meiji
the Meiji Restoration. I'm sorry, it's like the late 19th century. The Emperor of Japan has decided to disband the samurai class and adopt Western modes of dress and of government and governance and technology. Let's get the railroad over here. We need steam engines, and so the Meiji Restoration. Yeah. But what the Japanese did before that, they were on basically this Iron Age level of technology before that, like everyone else. But then, boom, here comes the West with gunpowder diplomacy. Open up your borders. We need to trade. There you go. So now you have gunpowder. Now you have flintlocks. Now you have steam engines. Now you have industrial capacities. Now you have factories. Now you have shoes. Now you have railroads. Now you have streets. Now you have sidewalks. And then the Japanese improved upon that. And then became the Japanese Empire, which invaded China, which Pearl Harbor, which also innovated technology, too, for computers, electronics, radios, all down the line. That's just an example of how, civilizations, humans specifically, because we're the only civilization that we know of. But if we were to be introduced to an alien race, that we would adopt their technology and eventually surpass them, so that therefore we could wipe out the civilization that gifted us with that technology. So it's in our best interest, even if the civilization is so far below our technology, it's in our best interest to wipe out that other civilization, because of the two things: the finite level of resources in the universe and the chain of suspicion. Because we can't take the chance that the other civilization will get along with us, that will want to get along, that they'll share the resources. So this thing called Dark Force theory really blew my little fucking mind. I'd never thought like that, but also with all the history I've read, I'm a huge history buff. With all the history I've read, that history is basically written on the bones of vanquished people. I don't, there, of course there's room for oppressor and oppressed, but also I see things more as victor and vanquished as well. And then history is filled with dark force theory and it's not to condone it. It's just more of like, that all happened.
Andrew.
Yeah. So what's happening in Europe? Well, it's a passive invasion by letting in too many illegal, undocumented migrants. Is that the proper way to say it? Or are they illegal aliens? Are they trespassing? Are they criminals because they entered your sovereign nation without going through the borders, without going through customs, without having a passport? And there is my childhood bedroom. Hello, little Sonny. Good morning to you. Oh, he had hair. He had to grow into these ears. But, so yeah, I'm not saying that Europe should adopt a dark force theory. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying dark force theory exists. It's really had an impact on the way I look at stuff. And I'm not advocating for anything gruesome or hostile, but it's more of like, you have only so much resources. You need to preserve the integrity of the sovereignty of your nation, of your culture, of your people, of your infrastructure, your way of life. And it's like, what's going to happen over there? Will there be some kind of tipping point? I came down to the real. I also like talking to Ricky. I like talking to Ricky, and so it's more of like, and Ricky responds to me being like your answers doesn't even like come close to like addressing my concerns. It's like, here you go with like, hey, I'm from a tough neighborhood, therefore, that doesn't wash with me. Again, this is a paraphrase. But I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if I have the answers you're looking for. I'm a city boy with street smarts. And I know trouble when I see it. And you have to be aware of it. You have to have your head in a swivel, or your head will end up on a pike.
Please.
Or in a basket. And that, just, that's like where I'm coming from. Like with this, I'm a city boy. Like my answer was like, because it goes back to the original tweet. I said that if Europe and the UK allow this to happen, then it's an if-then statement. It's a conditional statement. If they let down their guard, then they deserve the fall. They've got it coming. And I'm from South Boston, Massachusetts, that we have this. I grew up with this mentality here in Boston. It's, do you have it coming? Oh, you fucked up. Oh, you hit my sister. Well, you got this coming, chief. Oh, you ripped off your boss. Oh, you got it coming. It meaning your consequence. Also, it's I guess in the parlance of modernity, it's called fuck around, find out. FAFO. Well, Europe and the UK are fucking around, and they're letting the bleeding heart progressives and liberals. And God love them. There's a place for them in society, of course. But are they fit to rule? And what are they doing with the power to rule? Why, what's... I don't have answers. All I have are more questions. But I thought it would be an interesting conversation for the morning, and I'm grateful and blessed for people like Ricky that I have conversations with and that engage my mind, and that I can, try to elucidate these answers better. Because I have opinion, and it's just an opinion. It's just an opinion. I don't have answers. All I have are more questions. I'm also fond of saying, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I could be wrong right now. I could be. I accept that. And that's all I got for today. Let's wrap up the show. I'd like to thank Ricky for his or her. Yeah, exactly. I think he's a he. But, you just don't know. Exactly. Dark Forest theory. You just don't know. So what should you do? Are you going to risk losing the whole enchilada just out of your sentimentality? Exactly. There's my feelings. They're my feelings. It's my guess. It's my opinion. And that's all I got. But thank you, Ricky, for your tweets. And I'm blessed and grateful. And that's my gratitude this morning, is for conversation and it's somewhat civil. Alrighty. Well, here. You have a great day. Be grateful. Stay grateful. Think about subscribing if you haven't already. Like and subscribe this show. Turn on those notifications. It really helps the algorithm suggest this program to someone that might need to hear it. And but yeah, look for later on I'll put the link to Quinn Howard's video about Dark Forest theory in the description of this show. Check it out. Check out and read the Three Body Problem by Lou Cixin. It's amazing. I've read it 3 times. I love his work, and I love sci-fi. So have a great day. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. That's the sound of the subway, man. All right. You have a wonderful day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.